Hi, welcome or welcome back to the Svenja Knits Knitting channel. I am Svenja and here I talk about what I'm currently knitting, what I'm dreaming about knitting, and a lot of the other fun yarn related happenings in my life. So before we get started, I just wanted to send a very heartfelt thank you out to all of you who are either watching or have subscribed, and to those that have left really kind and uplifting comments. Thank you so much. I've tried to respond to each and every one of you, but it really means the world to me. So thank you so much. In addition to thanking you all, I wanted to address some of the more popular video request ideas I've been getting. Mainly asking for more of my personal knitting story, as well as some more information about myself when I'm not knitting. So I promise you I am working on a video. I just haven't figured out quite how much I'd like to share, but I promise you that I am getting things in the works, and that will be likely posted in the next month or so. So I don't have a ton of new content for you today, including finished objects that I haven't shared with you yet. However, I did get some great footage of my husband wearing his new knit cardigan that I made him for his birthday last month. We went apple picking a couple weeks ago and he wore it, and it was the first time he wore it out in public, which actually, no, he wore it out to dinner on his birthday too. So, makes me so happy that he likes it, and he's actually wearing it. So I had to get some documentation of this and figured that I'd share it with all of you here. We went apple picking at this place called Vista of Maine, which is half apple orchard, half winery and cidery. It's technically a wedding venue, but after you apple pick, you can get yourself a flight of ciders and just sit in this beautiful kind of green area and look over this vista at all the fall foliage, and it was just gorgeous. It was the perfect day. So before we jump into whips, I figured I'd show what I'm wearing. This is the Nurtured sweater by Andrea Mowry, and it's clearly a raglan style pullover, and it is slightly cropped. I'll stand up here to show you. These are kind of high-waisted. My belly button's right about here. So perfect for over dresses or with high-waisted skirts or jeans. And like I said, it is knit bottom up. You start with the body and knit towards the raglan shaping on the bust, and you also knit the sleeves from the cuff up as well. And I clearly haven't worn this in a while because you can see the line here where it's been folded and stored. But my one qualm with this sweater is that the sleeves are really long. I think Andrea has pretty long arms, or I just have really short arms, which is probably more the case. But for that reason, you know, they're a little long, and I would probably change that next time. I think I knit this in Barocco Ultra Alpaca. I would have to check my Ravelry page to confirm the colorway, but it's a kind of a lovely eggplant color, and this texture is a super easy pattern repeat. You only really need to knit a little bit to memorize it, and it will fly off the needles. I will definitely knit this again, probably in a neutral, so I can wear it with kind of more colorful like skirts or sweater or dresses. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, I'm sorry, my battery keeps dying and it's really dark outside all of a sudden, so I had to adjust the lighting. I think there might be a storm coming through. So either way, this is my first whip to share with you. I have shared this before and made quite a bit of progress since I did so. So this is the Champagne Cardigan by Petit Knit. It doesn't look like much yet. But it is a top-down raglan style cardigan that is designed to be quite oversized. And I'm making it in Gallery yarns. It is Prime Alpaca Heather in a color something peach. I forget the full colorway name. Held together with one strand of Jedifra in it's a pink mohair. And it's working out nicely so far. I'm fairly happy with it. There are a few things that are a little bothersome. So The edges are rolling up on itself, so it's kind of hard to envision, but there will be a thick, like double knit button band that goes down the front. And I did do the pattern as written, so it's a 1x1 ribbing with a tubular bind off. And when I tried it on, the front edges just don't come together as nicely as I would have imagined it to. So I'm thinking my tubular bind off is a little tight, and it's a little disappointing to think about undoing a tubular bind off in mohair yarn, because that might get a little messy, but I'm considering doing it and just doing like a basic bind off. I think I might like that a little bit better. It clearly needs a lot of blocking. It's really wonky right now. So, you know, this is fairly lightweight. I did swatch for this, so I knew what the fabric was gonna be, but now that I have tried it on and it's like mid-October heading into the winter, I was just kind of envisioning a thicker fabric, something warmer that I could like toss over like blouses or like a long sleeve t-shirt and be really warm. So this is not quite what I was expecting this project to be. So I'm thinking about just maybe putting this on hold for a couple weeks and coming back to reevaluate. Not that I will undo all of this work, but I will definitely consider you know, changing the ribbing on the bottom and making that a little bit nicer, and maybe even just steam blocking it a little bit to see whether I like the finished fabric or not. I think right now it might just feel a little wonky and unfinished, and for that reason, I'm just a little hesitant on finishing it. So it just needs a little time out, and as you get to know me, you'll find that I do this a lot. I'll start a project and be 100% committed and so excited about it, and I get, you know, like 60-70% of the way through, and I start to rethink my decisions about like yarn choice or, you know, how I've been knitting it. So this is a common thing that happens, but nothing a little time away from this can't fix. My second whip is a project that I talked about in my fall 2022 wish list, and a lot of people responded saying that you either knit this or you have questions about knitting it. So I went ahead and found some stash yarn and cast it on, and I'm so happy I did. I've made a lot of progress, actually. So this is sweater number 11 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and it's a oversized turtleneck sweater knit in a worsted weight yarn held together with a lace weight mohair. And I am knitting this in Simply Wool worsted weight by Knit Picks in the color Winkle. So kind of like a neutral oatmeal-y gray. And I'm holding it together with another Jadivra Kid Surrey alpaca mohair, rather, lace weight. So I thought together those would produce like a lightweight, light gray fabric, and I'm really happy with the color so far. I wanted something in between gray and beige, and I think this nails it. So this is my My Favorite Things Knitwear pattern. I have eyed her patterns from afar, mainly on Instagram. You know, my feed or my homepage is just flooded with her patterns. So I thought it was a good time to cast it on. For my third and final whip, this is a sweater I have some history with, to say the least. You might have heard me talk about it in the first video. This is a pattern, or a project rather, where I unfortunately used a different dye-lot right in the middle of the darn sweater and did not realize it, continued to knit, and unfortunately it bothered me so much that I went ahead and decided to unravel it. It's actually the yarn that I'm using in my last whip. So I am reusing this very well-loved yarn here that's gotten a lot of knitting. So thankfully I am reusing it, but it is something that I considered, you know, dyeing or just keeping the way it was, and I came to the conclusion that it would have bothered me too much, and for that reason I went ahead and decided to frog it. So that being said, I really wanted to knit this project, so I went ahead and cast it on in a different yarn. Luckily, all the skeins, I checked the dye lots, they are all the same, so I won't make the same mistake with this one. So here is the very beginning of my cabled cardigan by Irene Lynn. I don't know if I already said that, but it's a gorgeous kind of Aran style cabled cardigan, and I'm just really excited to finally be knitting it again. So I am making this with Lucky Tweed by Kelborn Woolens in the color, it's called medium gray, and it, I believe, is a woolen spun yarn. It's got these great kind of tweedy nubs in them here, browns and beiges and blacks, and I just really love this yarn. It is an Aran weight yarn, which is exactly what the pattern calls for, and I am making it in the size medium, and the pattern calls for, I believe, US 8 or 9, and again, I'm knitting it on US 7, so I met gauge on one size, exactly how the last sweater was, but I met gauge with one needle size down, and then decided to size down even further just to make up the difference between the two sizes, the small and the medium that I was probably between. So I'm really hoping that this fits well. I loved the fit of the first one. I am hoping that I have enough yarn to make this longer, kind of a longer, maybe like right beneath my hip. So I'm really hoping that I'm able to do that. And the way that I will probably try to plan that is I'll knit until the sleeves are separated, and I'll probably knit a little bit more of the body. I'll go back to the sleeves, I'll finish the sleeves, and then I'll know how much yarn I have left to finish the body. That's usually how I tackle, you know, adding some length to the body with patterns like this. So really loving the cables and the pattern. It's so enjoyable to knit. It's relatively easy to memorize the repeats, and I highly recommend you check this out. It's just such a great pattern. So I have one yarn acquisition today, and if you've watched either one of my first couple of videos, you would have heard me say that I'm trying really hard not to buy new yarn and to use what's in my stash. But boy, is that hard, especially in the fall when all of these new colorways and collections are coming out, and especially when I find local yarn and I have a chance to support local artists or farms. It's just something that is really hard to resist. So this past weekend, my husband and I went camping out in the Wolfboro, New Hampshire area, and we happened upon this really cute little craft fair, and there was this alpaca farm stand where I just couldn't resist, and I ended up getting 2 skeins of their gorgeous alpaca yarn. So this is 100% alpaca in a, you know, an oatmeal-y taupe color, which apparently is the theme of this video. And it is from the farm Snowfield Alpacas, which I forget exactly where they're out of, but I'll link the information below. And this is the softest alpaca I have ever felt. It is so luxurious, and these total 250 yards. So I think it will be enough for like a cabled hat or something, a small accessory. And the 2 ladies at the booth told me all about their animals and their farm. So it was really nice to hear kind of the backstory and know what you're supporting when you're purchasing from companies like this. So really happy with this purchase, and I will show you what I make with this. Okay, that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about any of the patterns or yarns that I talked to, just leave me a comment below. You can also find me on Instagram at Svenja Knits. And if you enjoy this content, be sure to subscribe for more. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.